What are you in the mood for tonight? Want to grab dinner somewhere? Any ideas for tonight?
The most dangerous moment in any relationship isn't when she cheats. It's when she stops looking at you like a man. It's 7 p.m. on a Friday. Jake's been staring at his phone for 10 minutes, typing and deleting the same message over and over. What are you in the mood for tonight? Delete. Want to grab dinner somewhere? Delete. Any ideas for tonight? Delete. 6 months ago, Jake would have walked into the living room and said, "Get ready. We're hitting that new steakhouse at 8. Done. Decision made. Plan set. Now he's frozen, paralyzed by the simple act of choosing a restaurant. Olivia walks into the kitchen, sees him hunched over his phone, and something flickers across her face. Not anger, not frustration, something worse. Disappointment. Just pick something, Jake. Her voice is flat, tired, like she's talking to a child who can't tie his own shoes. That's the moment. The exact moment when you realize you're no longer the man she fell for. And here's what no one tells you. This isn't happening because you're a bad boyfriend. It's happening because you're trying to be the perfect one. What if I told you the #1 reason she's losing respect for you has nothing to do with cheating, money fights, or communication problems? It's simpler than that, and more devastating. You've become too nice. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how good men destroy their own relationships, and the counterintuitive steps you need to take to get her respect back before it's too late. Think about it. When's the last time you made a decision without seeking her approval first? When did you stop saying, "This is what we're doing," and start asking, "Is this okay with you?" Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to tell you. The harder you work to make her happy, the faster she loses respect for you. Because here's what they don't teach you. If you don't hold the frame, you lose the man. This erosion doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the spaces between decisions. And those spaces are where relationships die. It doesn't happen overnight. Picture Mark, a guy I know. 3 years ago, he was the kind of man who'd plan surprise weekends. Now he spends 20 minutes asking Sarah if Tuesday works for dinner plans. It starts small. She says she's not feeling Italian tonight, so you switch to Thai. She mentions she's tired, so you cancel your poker night. She wants to stay in, so you skip the gym. Each choice feels harmless, but stack them together, and something changes everything. You're no longer steering your own life. She didn't ask for this power. Hell, she probably doesn't want it. But every time you deferred, she had to step up. Not because she wanted to lead, but because someone had to. Look around your relationship right now. Who decides where you eat? Who picks the weekend plans? Who sets the social calendar? If the answer is, we decide together, for everything, you're already in trouble. Here's what really happens. You think you're being thoughtful. She feels burdened. You think you're being supportive. She feels like she's managing a child. What was once passion becomes logistics. What was chemistry becomes management. Your romance slowly mutates into a business partnership where she's the sand, you're the eager-to-please employee. The worst part? You both feel it, but neither of you can name it. She's not consciously thinking he's weak. What she feels is emptiness, where strength used to be. What she craves is direction, where indecision has taken root. A woman can love you, but she can't follow a man who doesn't lead. And that's exactly what's happening here. You're not just losing her respect, you're losing her desire to walk beside you. There are 2 ways men fall into this trap. Let me show you both. Path 1. The immediate surrender. Meet David. The moment he got with Lisa, he decided she was out of his league. So he competed the only way he thought he could, by being the most accommodating boyfriend in history. Whatever you want, babe. You decide. I'm happy if you're happy. For a while, it seemed to work. Lisa seemed grateful, but David built his relationship on service, not attraction. And relationships built on service always end in resentment. Path 2, the slow erosion. This one's more common. Take Mike. When he met Jennifer, he was confident, decisive. He planned their first 3 dates without asking what she wanted to do. That leadership is exactly what drew her in. But as the relationship deepened, as his fear of losing her grew, something shifted. He started giving ground. Skipping guys' night seemed harmless. Letting her choose the restaurant avoided conflict. Adjusting his workout schedule kept her happy. None of these felt like much on their own. But together, they killed the very confidence that attracted her in the first place. Both paths, immediate surrender or gradual erosion, end the same way. He no longer feels like himself. She no longer looks at him the way she used to. The relationship becomes comfortable and dead. But here's where most men get it wrong. They think the problem is that she's changed, that she's become demanding, difficult, or ungrateful. You think she's just tired, but the truth is, she's tired of you not showing up as a man. This realization is what separates the men who turn things around from those who lose everything. Here's where it gets dangerous. You start confusing emotional investment with leadership. You think proving your devotion will make the bond stronger. You believe giving up pieces of yourself buys security. But here's what actually happens. Your attempts to hold on to her become the force that pushes her away. Picture Tom at dinner with his girlfriend Kelly. She mentions she doesn't like his college friends because they're immature. Old Tom would have said, "They're good guys. You'll warm up to them." New Tom thinks, "If I drop them, she'll see how much I care." So he ghosts his boys. Kelly doesn't feel grateful. She feels guilty and a little disgusted because now she's dating a man who abandons his friendships for her approval. Society makes this trap deeper. We're told vulnerability and compromise are the keys to lasting love. Movies show us that if you just care enough, she'll care back. But here's the cruel truth. Overinvestment doesn't inspire loyalty. It creates restlessness. The more you try to prove your worth, the less she feels it. Psychologists call this loss aversion. Once fear drives your choices, everything changes. You stop creating experiences for her to join. You start waiting to see what she wants. You stop being yourself and become a shadow of the man she fell for. And this is where the trap becomes a prison. Because now you're not just accommodating her. You're accommodating the version of yourself that you think she wants. But that version doesn't exist. It's a ghost. And you can't build a relationship with a ghost. Once you're in the trap, a predictable pattern begins. She makes a small request. Skip the restaurant you picked for one she prefers. Seems reasonable, right? You agree. Harmony restored. Next week, she suggests you skip your workout to spend more time together. Again, it feels harmless. You say yes, but here's what you just taught her. Your boundaries are negotiable. And here's what you just learned. Yes, keep the peace. No creates friction. Watch how this plays out with Ryan. First, Sarah asked him to change dinner plans. Then she wanted him to skip his morning run. Then she suggested he not go out with his brother this weekend. Each time, Ryan calculated the cost of saying no versus the ease of saying yes. Eventually, his life became subject to her approval. Independence started looking selfish. Boundaries felt like betrayal. This is what I call the fear-based decision matrix. Every choice gets filtered through her potential reaction. Should you see your friends tonight? You don't ask, do I want this? You calculate, How upset will she be? The final stage is decision paralysis. Even simple choices, where to eat, how to spend Saturday, become exhausting calculations. You become an expert at reading her moods while completely losing touch with your own. And she? She loses the decisive man she was originally drawn to. What's left is a relationship where nobody's really driving, and both passengers are wondering why the ride feels so bumpy. The moment you trade your authenticity for her approval, you lose both. Look, if this is hitting home right now, you're not alone. Thousands of men have fallen into this exact trap. But here's the thing, recognizing it is the first step to breaking free. If you want to dive deeper into reclaiming your masculine leadership and transforming your relationship dynamics, I've put together a comprehensive guide that goes beyond what we can cover here. The link is in the description below. Don't let another day pass living as a shadow of the man you used to be. Here's the cruel twist. The behaviors you think will make her love you more are killing her attraction to you. Think about what first drew her in. It wasn't your willingness to say yes to everything. It wasn't your ability to predict her moods. It was your decisiveness, your confidence, the way you created experiences and invited her along. Those qualities signaled strength and direction. They told her, this is a man who knows who he is and where he's going. But once you fall into the trap, those qualities vanish. You stop being decisive because you're always seeking her input. You stop being confident because you're second-guessing her reactions. You stop being independent because your life revolves around her comfort. Take Alex. He used to surprise his girlfriend Emma with spontaneous weekend trips. She loved the adventure, the excitement of not knowing where they were going. Now, Alex sends her 3 restaurant options via text and asks her to pick. Emma chooses, but something inside her dies a little each time. Women aren't attracted to compliance. They're attracted to strength. The moment you show that her comfort matters more than your integrity, she begins to see you as weak. This paradox punishes good intentions. You genuinely want to care for her. But what you see as effort, she experiences as neediness. What you believe strengthens the bond actually erodes it. Attraction isn't about catering to her preferences. It's about staying grounded in your own while inviting her into your world. This is the foundation every strong relationship is built on. Not compromise, but complement. Not negotiation, but navigation. And navigation requires a navigator. To understand this better, think about leadership at work. Imagine a company where the CEO refuses to make decisions. Every choice must be debated endlessly. The leader constantly asks, "What do you all want me to do?" At first, the team might enjoy the freedom, but soon, frustration sets in. Without clear direction, productivity drops. Respect for leadership collapses. Now imagine the opposite. A leader who listens and considers input, but ultimately takes responsibility. When hard choices need to be made, he makes them. Even when people don't always agree, they respect him because he provides clarity and confidence. Relationships work exactly the same way. When you constantly seek consensus, constantly bend to avoid conflict, you don't create a grateful partner. You create an entitled one. She doesn't feel cherished. She feels burdened. Picture Lisa coming home to find her boyfriend Danny waiting for her decision on dinner, weekend plans, and which movie to watch. She's been making decisions at work all day. The last thing she wants is to come home and manage another person's choices. What she craves isn't endless compromise. It's the security of being with someone who can steer the ship. This doesn't mean ignoring her input. A good CEO listens to his team. but someone has to hold the vision and take responsibility for the outcome. When you refuse to step up, she's forced into a role she never wanted. She becomes the manager, not the partner. And managers don't desire their employees, they evaluate them. The question isn't whether you're good enough for her. The question is whether you're still the man she chose, or just someone wearing his clothes. If you want to escape this trap and stay out of it, you need a system. Leadership isn't a one-time act. It's a daily practice. Principle 1. Preference assertion. Stop burying what you want. If you want steak, say steak. If you want to spend Saturday with your friends, say so. Every time you assert your preferences, you remind both of you that you're still leading your life. Watch this in action. Babe, I'm thinking we hit that new Brazilian place tonight. Not, what do you feel like eating? The first creates direction. The second creates work for her. Principle 2. Emotional non-management. Her emotions are hers to handle, not yours. Stop trying to manage her moods. Real leadership means making decisions that are right for both of you, even if they create temporary frustration. Example: you've committed to your weekly basketball game. She pouts because she wanted to do something together. Old you would cancel and soothe. New you says, I know you're disappointed. Let's plan something great for tomorrow. Then you go play basketball. Principle 3. Decision. Keep parts of your life fully yours. Your friendships, your fitness, your hobbies, your career direction. These aren't up for negotiation. When you hold on to them, you stay grounded. When you surrender them, you become a ghost. Principle 4. Early intervention. The easiest time to protect boundaries is at the start. Feel yourself sliding into over-accommodation? Stop it immediately. Don't wait until you're years deep, living someone else's life. Principle 5. Consequence tolerance. Accept that authenticity sometimes creates conflict. She may push back. She may argue. That's fine. A little tension is far healthier than years of silent resentment. Picture Marcus telling his girlfriend he's keeping his Thursday night poker game. She's not happy. Old Marcus would have caved and felt resentful. New Marcus stays calm, acknowledges her feelings, but doesn't change his mind. Within a week, she respects the boundary and stops fighting it. Healthy relationships need structure. That structure works best when built on what I call consensual authority. One person takes responsibility for steering the relationship's direction, while the other willingly supports that leadership. This isn't about force or control. It's about agreement. She chooses to follow because she respects the man she's with. When men provide strong, steady leadership, women often feel freer, not more restricted. They can relax into their femininity, knowing they don't have to carry the weight of steering everything. Think of it like a dance. Someone has to lead, or you just step on each other's feet. When the lead is clear and confident, the follower can be graceful and trusting. Both roles matter. Both require skill, but they're different. Role clarity reduces endless negotiation. Less power struggle, less confusion about who's responsible for what. He leads with confidence. She supports it with trust. Together, they move forward as a team. Watch it work. James decides they're spending Saturday hiking, then asks Emma if she prefers the mountain trail or the lake loop. He's leading the decision. We're hiking, but including her input, which trail. Emma feels led, not controlled. Without this clarity, couples drift into chaos. He avoids decisions. She resents carrying them. Both lose the dynamic that made them fall in love. If you've already fallen into the trap, good news. You can climb out, but don't expect it to happen overnight. You don't fix years of over-accommodation with one dramatic speech. Stage 1. The mirror moment. Be brutally honest. How much of your authentic self have you given up? How many decisions have you surrendered? This part stings, but it's necessary. Once you see how far you've drifted, you can commit to finding your way back. Stage 2. The first stand. Start with low-stakes areas. Choose the restaurant without asking her input. Plan a weekend activity you enjoy. Keep your gym schedule, even if she hints at wanting more time. Watch what happens when Kevin starts doing this. First time he picks dinner without consulting Amanda, she's slightly surprised, but goes along. Second time, she makes a comment. Third time, she realizes this is the new normal and relaxes into it. Stage 3. The resistance test. This is where it gets tough. As you assert yourself more, she may push back harder. She might test you, pout, or argue. This is the danger zone. If you cave here, the old pattern comes roaring back. But if you remain calm, firm, and pleasant, she eventually sees you mean it. Stage 4. The shift. Once she realizes your leadership isn't temporary, she starts to relax into it. Respect returns. Attraction reignites. What once felt like conflict now feels like security. She no longer has to manage everything, and that relief often turns into renewed desire. Stage 5. The new normal. The new dynamic becomes natural. You don't have to think about being decisive. It flows. She no longer tests boundaries because she trusts your consistency. Remember, recovery isn't about avoiding all conflict. Temporary discomfort means you're on the right path. What matters is the long game, building a relationship that thrives on authenticity and respect, not crumbling under compliance. This process isn't just about saving your relationship, it's about saving yourself. Because every man who goes through this transformation realizes something profound. They weren't just losing her respect, they were losing their own identity. Back to Jake from our opening. 6 months later, same Friday night. This time, he's not staring at his phone. He's putting on his jacket. Sarah walks into the kitchen. "Where are we going?" "That steakhouse downtown. Reservations at 8. She smiles, really smiles, for the first time in months. "Give me 10 minutes to get ready." As she heads upstairs, Jake feels something he'd forgotten. He feels like himself again. And for the first time in a long time, Sarah looks at him the way she used to. That's the power of reclaiming your leadership, not just for her respect, but for your own soul. A man without direction is just a boy with responsibilities, and boys don't inspire women. They burden them. As she heads upstairs, Jake feels something he'd forgotten. He feels like himself again. And for the first time in a long time, Olivia looks at him the way she used to. This isn't just about relationships. It's about reclaiming your place in the world as a man who leads, decides, and stands firm in his convictions. This isn't about clicking a link to buy another course. This is about something bigger. It's not just about her respect. It's about reclaiming your place in the world. Every day you spend asking permission instead of making decisions. You're not just losing ground in your relationship. You're losing ground as a man. Your career, your friendships, your entire life begins to reflect this pattern of weakness. But when you master the art of masculine leadership, everything changes. She starts looking at you differently. Other men start respecting you differently. You start moving through the world with the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth. This is your mission now. Not just to save your relationship, but to save yourself from a life of endless accommodation and quiet desperation. The complete roadmap is waiting below. But understand this: every moment you hesitate is another moment she's learning to live without your leadership. The choice isn't between conflict and peace. It's between respect and resentment, between attraction and indifference, between being a man or being managed. She didn't change. You did. Want to get her respect back? Start by leading again. What part of this hit home for you most?